Bhagavad-Gita. As you are familiar with these are facilitations. They're meant to increase one's ability to take home important points. So we use a lot of techniques that are used in education that help increase retention. So it takes a little bit more activity out of the part of the devotees. So this is actually what we call a facilitation, and it is a group offering. So in order for our offering to be completely Krishna conscious, we all will pray to Srila Prabhupada and to Lord Krishna and to the Vaishnavas that our only desire by participating in this offering is to please Krishna and Prabhupada and the devotees, okay? Because actually anything short of that, it falls into karma bandhana and more bodies. So it's pretty simple when you get it down to it. It's just we're not accustomed to it. The main objective of any activity is did it please the Supreme Personality of Godhead? And that was my intention, not just accidentally. I actually intended to please him, and he was pleased. That's our motive. And then you're actually in Krishna consciousness. So all of us should pray for this and that actively participate. And your mood is important also, because that loving aspect, it should be with love, not, well, duty or begrudgingly, right? Okay, so today's chapter, of course, is called the Yoga of the Supreme Person, Purushottam Yoga. And we have a tremendous amount of material. So we're doing our best. Abhay and I have worked, nonstop, trying to organize it all. Even though this is only a 20-verse chapter, it is packed. And it is one of the two shortest verses in the Gita. It's only 20 slokas. The chapter 12 is also only 20. Yet it is profound. It is profound. So hopefully that all of the things we're bringing in will help enhance that appreciation of this particular chapter in your spiritual progress. Okay? Ready with that? Now, what we do, first of all, and I think we will start with that, is take a look at our study guide, because we're going to be using this more actively this time. So everybody, first of all, you did receive a little ID badge. And each of these things that we've done today, again, is to give you what we call a practicum. In educational spheres, there are two aspects, and in Vedic times it's known as Gyan and Vigyan. And it's known in the material world as the principles and the practice, right? If you can't go into the lab and prove something, it's not science. So that's why Prabhupada said Vigyan is actually the lab work. Can you prove it? He'd ask the scientists, can you prove that you can create life from matter? And they say no. So it's not knowledge, right? So Gyan, this is in the Gyan section. So our emphasis is on knowledge, and our emphasis is on practicums. Because as we get into the more abstract concepts, unless you have something tangible, it's hard to make a connection for those of us who are still in the conditional world. We're still here. Okay, so you understand that. So you've got your title, and that's your cover, and you have here. And when you study, we weave in study tips to make it, again, a skill building, not only just information building, but a skill building session. So I always try to encourage people to get as much information from whatever you have in your hands. Whatever you don't have in your hands, that's not in your control. But if you have something, you say, okay, how much do I know here? So we know it's the title. And what's the title of this? Yoga of the Supreme Person. I do a lot of signals because that helps people. Okay. And it's chapter what? 15. Okay. And it is, of course, this is called Study Resource Materials. It's vast. That doesn't mean we cover this all. We highlight it, and we work from the most important sections, the most important ones. I'll just touch this to my head. Okay? And then you can just put it there, all right? So it gets to be a little heavy. All right, so then let's go through it quickly. So when you have something, we do what we just do scanning. We go quickly through it. And a Bible will show on the screen what you have in front of you, so do both. On the screen, you will see the inside of the cover. These are the things we want to know for certain, the most general points of this chapter. Education means not what I know, but what you know when you leave. That's teaching. Listening is one thing, and that you also have to do. Listening is part of education, but it's an aspect, it's not the complete. Education means what will the student know when he leaves the room, and how long will he remember it? Retention time from a lecture after the lecture is 8 hours only, and that was in 1930. I don't think it's the same now. Just try it. So that's why we do these things. It looks a little strange, but it's all documented. It's all documented. All right, so you see, these are the most important things when you leave today you should understand. Then you have what we call our two-page study guide, which you can do later, but you can fill in that. That means in here I can actually test myself. I can test myself. And on the back of that, you'll see the 16 themes listed, and we stress that now quite a bit. If you're preaching to someone and they want to know, well, how do you prove that the soul transmigrates? In this chapter, you can do that. You know that's a theme, whereas there are 5 themes in this chapter that are emphasized. Okay? And angles of vision is Prabhupada's emphasis. The Gita should be studied from many, many angles of vision. So that is why we bring in material that somebody questions, what are you doing? But it's meant to support the concept. We tie it into what is the philosophical point and what is the instruction for me. Now you have the verse section. And the verse section, we've really changed this a lot. We don't just list verses, you have that in the book. We go through each sloka and we put a key word. I call it the title word. I tried to find a word that either was very easy to recognize and it seemed to be the essence. If I had to get it down to one word, what would the one word be that helps me know that verse 1, the important word is what? Banyan. Okay? So we've done that. So if you see, and then we've added little icons to break up the text. When we're reading, if you just have a mass of text, now in Kali Yuga, people can't deal with it. They have to have pictures and less content. That's it. So our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, he stressed time, place, and circumstance. You have to keep adjusting to your audience. They're there to be helped. So you will see little icons, and I would try to break up every phrase. So it was easy to break it up and then get a little icon. Now they're not in color, but I was able to do that on my tablet. But at least it helps, and it breaks up the text. A lot of spacing. So you'll hopefully understand what you see here and why it's been done the way it's been done. We call these user-friendly, learner-friendly methods. Believe me, the material world will not design a phone for you that is difficult to operate. Okay? Now we have the key memory verses, only 6, 2 of which, number 7 and number 15. You'll see we insert also the main slide. 7 and 15 are the essential philosophical points of the Krishna conscious philosophy. 7 and 15. And the other 2, 8 and 9, and 19 and 20. Those are what we call key thematic verses. They're very important. But the other 2 have to be memorized. And the preachers are supposed to know all of them. So they're there with icons, word for word, and the Sanskrit. So you have that section. Okay, you see what you have. It's important to know what are my resources. And at the back, we always put the quiz, the blank. So if I look at the blank, I say, oh, 7 and 15 go there, right? 8 and 9 on top, 19 and 20 on the bottom. Test yourself. The more you use your intelligence, you actually build your memory power, and it's more fun. Just sitting there and trying to absorb it all. We're not sitting in Namasharanya for a long time. Becoming detached from the material world here. You see, I've broken even, these are old now, I did not redo these, but these are all the definitions in the purports by the 4 sections. This chapter is in 4 sections. How many? 4. Hold up 4 fingers. Yeah. If you see me do a signal, do it. It seems like, oh God, this is kindergarten, but actually, if you do it with your body, retention goes up to 90%. Not bad. Kinesthetic. 4 sections, right? And we're stressing that because we emphasize working on the sections, the structure. If you know the structure, you know where things go very easily. And then later we do the flow. So there's a lot here. You can see in this chapter, it's huge. Prabhupada writes extensively in the purports. So wherever he quoted another scriptural reference, whenever there was an important word, it's there. This is for your study benefit. It's actually a dissection of the book. Now, analogies and examples, again, by section. Now, I had done some slides on this before, because I actually, this is about almost the 4th time. Each time I go through the Gita, it's a fact, it's living. You just discover a totally different way of trying to explain it and understand it yourself. So we don't have too much new material on that, but we have a lot of other new material that I hope you'll find helpful. So you see here the 4 sections, and we'll be learning those as a take-home point. Knowledge and values objective. This is critical. Self-analysis is part of spiritual advancement. We have to understand what's the ideal, where am I, and how far do I have to go. If you're not realistic about that, and your time runs out before you die, you missed it. You need to keep seeing. Prabhupada makes it clear in practically every sentence. I practically just dissected the purports, and you see the reference, and you get a rating scale of 1 to 5. So you know, well, do I never do it, or do I occasionally do it, or do I always do it? So that's important. Because actually, in the 14th chapter, the key memory verse was, one who engages in pure devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances. Try that one. It's not easy. So this is, Krishna consciousness is what you call a very high expectation process. The highest. But the goal is the highest. It won't be cheap. This is a high expectation process. And we're dealing with birth and death. So it's critical. Not just as another topic. Bhagavad-Gita as it is. This is coming from Vanipedia. The number of times and which verses have been cited by Prabhupada. So you can see here by the number which ones. 1515 has been cited almost 500 times. That's a lot. Others not so much, and not all 20 have been cited. Actually, there were no recorded lectures on this chapter, which is too bad. I mean, the written ones, and I didn't have time to really read them all. So I couldn't add that as well. Then we have all of Prabhupada's references. Uttama Adhikari is characterized by his faithfulness in saying exactly what it is that is his reference and where it is. He knows the Shastra and he can cite it. So Prabhupada is very meticulous in that regard. Okay? That's your first section, and then your second section is charts. And these again are meant to help you get the structural understanding. So the first ones are old charts from the little book that we had done years ago, the mind map. So on this page you have Gyan Yoga with the blanks. So in the Gyan section, which is the final section, we are in now 1520. And what I've learned to do is what we call integrating information. I don't say chapter 15, I say 1520. So when we learn them, we automatically say two things, not one. It's like packing more luggage in your trip. So try filling those in. So you know, if I say, okay, I did chapter 14, it's 1427. Or 13 was 1335. You get used to doing that. So take a little time on your own to fill that in. On the back, we have the breakdown of this chapter. And you can see here in the center, 1520. Right? You know that now, 1520, 20 slokas. You see 4 circles, so that means 4 topics. And see if you can fill in the code. We have easier codes to read now that we have slides. Then we have picture charts. The 4 sections are shown with a picture to help you reinforce the understanding, and a blank. Section 1, and I took the liberty to adjust this one. In the Bhakti Shastri Study Guide, it says 1 through 5. I added 6. Even though Prabhupada in the purport says from 6 to 20, that's the Purushottam Yoga section. But actually, number 6 defines the goal and why it's important to want to go there. And since that seemed to be the whole conclusion of the analogy and the detachment process of this tree, I felt it just seemed to make sense. So forgive me. But I couldn't just put it in with transmigration. I felt it really, for our purposes, made a lot of sense in the first section. And so we see the 4 topics there. And on the back, we see them in code form, because that's a good way to learn too. Some people learn better by words and some learn better by pictures, but codes are very helpful. They're abbreviations, just like ISKCON, it's a shortened way to say a long thing. So here we just see the codes, and you can see the numbers very quickly, because we learn how big the sections are. That's important also. So we learn a lot. But if it's done effectively, you actually have a very, shall I say, strong conception of the structure of this chapter, so that when the flow comes in, you can see the progression of each verse. And that's also very, very intelligently done by the Lord. It's perfectly designed, perfectly designed. Okay, so there again you saw the key verses, 7:15, 8, 9, 19, 20. Themes, we'll be marking those and filling those in also. 5 in this chapter, very, very important themes. Then we added some charts on the Parampara, because the final section is on Vedanta Sutra summary, and that was by Srila Vyasadeva. But there are other commentaries, which in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhupada advises devotees who are serious in their studies to read. So I didn't want anybody to think that I was stepping out of the books. He cites in CC, in the Antya-lila chapter 2, the names of the 4 other acharyas who have written commentaries, and he considers the sampradaya bona fide if it accepts the concept that there is one Supreme Lord and all other living entities are subordinate, eternal servants. In that makes them a bona fide sampradaya. And amazingly, the sampradaya from Lord Shiva, his commentary is to be rejected by Vaishnavas. But Vishnu Swami, the Acharya, his commentary is bona fide. Okay? Because Shankaracharya was given the unfortunate job by the Lord to bewilder those from the path of bhakti whose consciousness was impure. So we are not to read Sarira Bhashya. But Vishnu Swami's? All right. Okay. Does that help everybody? And it's called the Rudra Sampradaya, actually. Rudra Sampradaya. Sounds a little technical, but these are things that give you a deeper understanding of how important this chapter is, and how amazingly we have in this final section 3 verses that are called the Tri Shloka Gita. We have the 4 Chatur Shloki in chapter 10, but in this section, verses 16, 17, and 18 are the summary of Vedanta Sutra. Scholars will write volumes on Vedanta Sutra that they don't understand. I tried reading some of the sections. It was clear they didn't know what they were talking about. But by the mercy of Krishna and the mercy of Prabhupada, it's some 3 verses. That's it. Now, I used to do little cartoon sketches. They're there. You have all 20 verses with a little cartoon. And now, of course, we'll be following with a slide series on the banyan tree. This particular analogy is the one we'll be using as we go along. We want to know it because it says one who knows this, it should be studied thoroughly. And he knows the process of detachment. He can extricate himself from the false reflection of the real tree. Okay. The banyan tree is not unsacred, it's sacred. But the perverted reflection, that's what has to be cut. Okay, so everybody know what's in your study guide? Yes. All right, very good. We like to now go into some slide sections. I don't like to stick too much with just theory. I like to now balance theory with some section slides. We're going to go to the introductory section of I, not the instructional, but the introductory section. And as you were coming in, you saw this changing body thing, right? It really helps if something's moving, you can see. And I think of those of us who are getting older, we can actually practically by the day experience the changing body. This particular second section, we're going to be doing, I think, what should be very helpful, but it seems like, what did we do? We're going to be studying how a movie is made. Because actually, these chapters give us jnana chakshus, knowledge from Shastra. If we don't know Shastra, we can't understand this. And we can't see it. So here we have from 2:16, this is the Bhagavad-Gita. That's the wrong number. Was it nature about those who are seers of the truth? Okay, I was thinking Dehenosmin. But in any event, you get the concept. Anyone who's in the material world has to go through the 6 transformations: birth, old age, disease, and death. Okay, now let's go next to our next slide in that. And you see the same thing now. It happens not only in the human form, but it happens also in all other species. So the advantage of the human form is that the choice is there. In the other species, higher and lower, demigod and below human, choice is not an option. So the human birth is meant specifically for one thing, and that is self-realization. That's it. What's it meant for? Self-realization. Yes, not animal life. Okay? Now, let us go to the importance of jnana chakshus. We're in the jnana section, and see how many times it's referred to. Now, first of all, in Bhagavad-Gita 15:10, one whose eyes are trained in what? Knowledge can see. Unless you have knowledge, you cannot understand what is beyond your ability to prove it. So that's where. Now we're going to go back out of this actually Gyan section into 11. In 11, Krishna gives Arjuna what kind of eyes? Yes. You cannot see me, I have to give you what? Yes, without the mercy of the Lord, nothing can be understood. That's why Krishna consciousness is the only process for extrication. Now let's go to chapter 13. Those who see with the eyes of knowledge. There, jnana chakshus. Attain to what? That's the goal. Can you get there without knowledge? No. That's why philosophy is critical. Krishna consciousness is a science as well as devotional. It's both. It's not either or. It's both and. Next, 14. Let's see what the sloka is there. When one properly what? What's the result? You attain my spiritual nature. So knowledge, that is why we're trying so hard to make sure you have the knowledge to see what you cannot see. In our last class, if you were here, we used the example of strings and puppets. We cannot see the strings on all of us. But through the knowledge of the Shastra, we can understand that everybody's just totally under the control of the three modes of nature, like a puppet on the strings. So then we were asking people to have that vision when you leave. In this chapter, the knowledge that you're getting will give you the concept that you are watching nothing more than an illusion, a movie. Your body that you think is constant and real is nothing more than a series of images. That's all. And it's run so fast that it looks like it's a continuum. And we will see that. And we have a demonstration for you for that too. It's actually amazing. And there's nothing real. Even a movie, it's just an image behind a light, and then there's a magnifying glass, and it projects it on the screen. But we're talking about walking in time and space, and we think it's real. It's just a movie. It's the illusory energy, very powerful. And when one's transcendental, he sees that. He clicks into it. The more you purify through knowledge and practice, you will perceive that what you're watching is a movie that you have nothing to do with. You're transcendental. And it won't affect you. That is freedom from the modes. Okay, next. Yes, whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all of this. So these exercises are meant to train you in knowledge. All right, next. We have some key words that you must know from this section. Very important. The first one. What's this one? Maimamso Jivaloke. We are fragmental parts of Krishna. This is again number 7. Critical. Can you say the word? Maimamso Jivaloke. Eternally fragmental. Next key word. These words you must know. What's this one? Karshati. Don't tell me life isn't a struggle. Struggling very hard. Same verse. What's the word? Karshati. Next word. Kshara. If you're in the material world, you are what? Fallible. 4 defects. Package deal. Cheating propensity, right? Mistakes, illusion. What's the other one? I think the fourth one, right? Yeah. Imperfect senses, right? What's the opposite? Akshara. Those are infallible. They are perfect. They're in the spiritual world. But there's one person who's above that. Who's that? Krishna. Purushottam. And you see, actually in chapter 14, the last verse said, I am the source of Brahman. So he's identifying that, but in this chapter, he's telling us, I am that source. Purushottam Yoga. And why do I qualify? In the 3rd section, we will find out why he is entitled to be called Purushottam. Not just because he wants it. It's very well explained in the Vedanta Sutra. Why is he Purushottam? Okay? You got those words? Very important. Very important words. Now, this is an old slide, but take a look at it. This is our problem in the material world. You see the lady there with the hat? Can you all see the picture? Yeah, usually I try to find photographs. I could have shown a mirror in the mirror, but this one's amazing. It's a painting. What does she see? She sees herself. This is a famous verse. And Prabhupada quotes it in a lecture, especially when he's talking about atheists. But anybody. Atmavat manyate jagat. Everyone thinks the whole world is what? Like him. Is that just some people? No, everyone. We see according to our own conditioning. If you're a thief, everybody's a thief. If you're a saint, everybody's a saint. So that's why the material world is such a difficult place, because everybody's running around thinking that, oh, he should be thinking the way I do. There's only one person who can tolerate us. Who's that? Krishna. He can tolerate us no matter we're worms in stool or Brahma. He tolerates us. Who else can do that for very long? Everyone sees according, it's his virtual reality, but it's not reality, it's a projection. Even psychologists will tell you that. They know that when people say something about somebody else, they're projecting their own problems onto somebody else. Have you noticed that? They'll say, you just did this, and you just did... It's them, it's their problem. That's why you have to be careful not to project, but to introspect. What are you going to do? Don't blame the external, blame what's coming. Because all that external is you, projected. Remember that. That's clear in the Anarta section, the demons. In Krishna Lila, what are they? Are anartas. And by reading those pastimes, you destroy them. So everything's like that. The whole external energy is nothing more than a reflection of your anartas. You're made of anartas. Heavy.
I need the charger.
Yeah.
Battery's low.
Oh God, you're gonna have to go upstairs. Yeah, our battery's running low. So everybody's following that okay?
Yes.
I probably played it too long today.
Yes, I
Did I put the keys in here? Our battery's running low. We're gonna run problems with that. Should bring along in the future. Okay? We'll try to work on the study guide if for some reason this goes out. All right. So that's the important concept here. Now what we may do is do a few little activities if for some reason this goes out and we don't have a Vita switching the film. In the first thing let's go through back to our study guide, okay? Let's just do our homework and let's hope he can recharge the battery. We always have these technical challenges. Last time the cameraman had the camera on me and not on the screen. This time we said that's all right, but then we don't. Krishna always plays games. All right, let's go through the retention checklist, and you see a blank there, check. Please mark it. The first thing we start from general to specific. When we study, you must know general to specific. What's the most general thing you must know? What? The title. What is it?
Title.
The yoga of the Supreme Person. Does everybody know the title? Yes? Check it. These are what we call your objectives checklist. If you don't know the basics, what's the point of a fine point? Study means I begin with the basics. General to specific. Number 2, what's the chapter number? 15 if you're going to look it up. We're talking about study now. We're not just here to be entertained. Study takes out, but the more you put into it, the more you get out. It makes sense. You're investing. And you're worshiping Krishna. He said, those who study this sacred conversation worship me with your intelligence. He says that. It's not something that's just, drudgery. How many verses? 15, 20. Yes, I know that now. That's another thing, repetition helps. What section are we in? Yeah, knowledge. The 4 parts. How many parts are this chapter? 4. Okay, and we're going to break it down to one word. The key word here would be detachment for the first one. What's the first one? Second one is what? Okay, do the signals.
Transmigration.
Yes. What's the transmigration? What's the third one? Maintainer, right. Krishna's taking care of it. Every aspect. This is what we call our attitude of gratitude section. If you're not grateful, Prophet says that the conditioned soul's problem is he's not grateful. God gives him everything and he claims he's dead. That's ungood, yeah. He's dead. God doesn't need your affirmation to be alive. He doesn't need your vote. God is God. The problem is yours, right? Final one, I call this one the summary of Vedanta Sutra. Sutra means a thread, the string, sutra. Summary in 3 slokas. 3 slokas. Okay, so your first one is what? Detachment from the material world. Get out of it. What's the next one? Transmigration. Your third one is what? Krishna is your maintainer. Every aspect. And he shows you how on all levels, from cosmic to the heart. And finally, the summary of what? Yes, the whole philosophy. And the point of the Vedanta Sutra is to bring you to understanding Krishna. That's the point of the Vedas. So everybody got that section? Okay, let's move on to some of the things. I use numerical things here. It could go on for pages, but I had to limit it to one side. Number 1, who holds the first position? Yes, and in this chapter, he's identified as who? Purushottama. Yes, Purusha Uttama, top person. And what else is number 1? Process of extrication. There is only 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, there is only 1. People say, oh, you sound a little bit sectarian. Sorry. Krishna consciousness is your original nature. If you want to be healthy, you have to become Krishna conscious. Let's see what kinds of expansions we have. How many expansions do we have? 2. Oh, you're back. Okay, connected? 2. Krishna is Vamsi, and others are what? Amsa. My Mamso Jivaloka. Okay? 2 classes of beings. We had those words. What are the 2 kinds of beings? Right, fallible. And how were they called in Sanskrit? Chara. And those who are in the spiritual world? Akshara. They don't fall. They're infallible. They don't make mistakes. And they're one in unity with Krishna's desire, not that they lose their identity. That's Mayavadi. There are 2 states of being. This is very important. If you're in the material, you are what? A jiva bhuta. You are materially conditioned. That means bound. Conditioning means I'm tied up. I'm under shackles. But when I transcend the material world, what's my state? Brahma bhuta. Brahma bhuta prasanatma. Sochati dakanchati. That's the beginning of bhakti. Pretty high. We're what we call the practicing. Unless you become transcendental, you haven't really entered bhakti. pretty scary thought, right? There are two weaknesses of the heart. Prabhupada calls these the two psychic divisions. The first one is to do what? Lord it over. Control. 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 The second one is what? Attachment to matter and the possession of it. Enjoy. So if I break it down into two words, it's controller and enjoyer. You notice that in people? Yeah, the Rakshasas are the controllers. They're killing the planet. Enjoyers, well, he just likes to have a good time. But he's also in his own way. It's harmful. He'll stay here too. All right, there are 3 ingredients that we all need to know. Number 1 is what? Chaitra, the body. Is that us? No. Kshetragya, who's that? That's the soul. The soul is conscious. The body's dead, always dead, and will be dead. At no time is it conscious, even the brain. There are 2, and then there's one other person that is who? Ishvara. And he is the supreme knower, supreme enjoyer, and the supreme controller of both. He holds the top position. He's a Purusha. He's the Kshetragya, and he controls both. This is the topic in the themes. Next, 3 ingredients. This you must know, because actually this is one of the things that is what we call Sambandha Gyan. Sambandha. Who is God? Who am I? What's our relationship? And what's the material nature? That is Sambandha Gyan. Then the next process is Abhideya. How do I practice? And the goal is the Prayojana, which is called also the necessity. That's what we study. Why do we do that? It's necessity. It's not just an option. It's an option, but you're foolish if you don't do it. And 4 kinds of foodstuffs. And you sing that in the morning. Chaturviha Shri Bhagavad Prasada. This is what it means. Chewed, licked, sucked, and drunk. 4 kinds of foodstuff. Okay? We could have gone on and on and on. I just had to cut the page short, which was important. Is it helpful? Okay. Now let us go to our charts, and we're going to do the theme chart together. So we're spending a lot of time on this, but it's really critical. A lot of slides to do, a lot of videos on this. Go to your chart section. If we have a good, strong foundation, we know we've covered the critical things. The slides will just reinforce it, because if you know the facts first, then the pictures just reinforce it. If I try to just give you the pictures first, but you see, oh yeah, right. I heard that first. Now I see it. Now I see it. Now I see it. Okay, so with your pens, you see number 1 of the top? The soul and transmigration is explained in this chapter. Levels of knowledge is explained in this chapter. Levels of God realization is explained in this chapter. Defeating impersonalism, number 7, big. Mayavadi is very big problem. In India, they think that's it. And number 13A, well, we just talked about that. Jiva, Ishvara, Prakriti. Nothing happens without all 3 doers. The living entity, the Supreme Lord, who sanctions, and the nature who's carrying it. Everything we see is just the material energy, the modes carrying everything out. We're just desiring. We're souls watching the movie. Hard to understand. That's because we're under the modes. But that's why we need the knowledge. We have to see through the Shastra. So did you mark number 1? Yes. Soul and transmigration. That's played in verses 8 and 9. Levels of knowledge. That's everywhere. Levels of God realization. Last sloka. Defeating impersonalism, number 7. Sloka number 7. And the relationship of Jiva and Ishvara and Prabhupada writes a lot about that in the purports. No matter what chapter you're reading, Prabhupada talks about that all the time. He says, knowledge means I know who I am, I know who God is, and I know what my duty is. And I do it with love, not begrudgingly. Okay? You got the 5? All right. Now, let's start looking at some slide series. And use your chart. Let us go to the banyan tree analogy. We have a series here of a lot of slides, but it's going to take this to help you get through. First of all, because this is small, this is here. But first of all, let's show the number 12 plus. No, we don't want to watch the video yet. Just start with our slide series first, okay? I did 12 plus because if you see the banyan tree has 12 items and the detachment has 3. But they have subdivisions. So that's a little hard to show except in a series. And again, to just alert you, if you look at 1, 2, and 3, 1 is Sambandha, 2 is Abhideya, and 3 is Prayojana. Number 1 is who am I, who is God, and, what is material nature. Number 2 is the process. That's why you see a lot of points. And number 3 is I attain the goal. And it's a one-way ticket. You don't come back. Unless you're foolish. That option's always there. Okay? Now, this one, again, we have, and it'll to help you, and I have my book, and I didn't have time to do it, but we have 9. So 9 plus 3 is 12. But when we're talking about the roots, there are many subdivisions on that one. And when we're talking about the living entities, there are many subdivisions there. Okay? That help? All right, so let us now start looking at the slide series quickly. Follow with your chart. Number 1, what is the word reflection mean? Yes, the reflection of the tree. The banyan tree is not the wrong thing. That's represented by the spiritual world, but the reflection, the perverted upside down reflection, that is our perverted understanding of the tree. That, and there's a picture of a tree, and Prabhupada says, where will you see that? You will see it by a river or a lake. The reflection is upside down. So reflection is our desire projected into the material world. That's all you're getting. You desired it, you're here. You desired it, you got this body. Number 2. Now there are quite a few points about the roots. The main root, the one on the ground, because it's upside down now, it's going up to who? Brahma. Because remember, this tree is upside down. We're talking about the upside down reflection. It goes upward to Brahma Loka. Now banyans have what we call secondary roots. They come down from the branches. That's what they look like. You'll see them. Secondary roots go down to Bhuloka. That's where we are, below the higher planets. And they become trees. We have a video of a tree that is so big, it has 4,000 subsidiary trunks. 4,000. It's 8 acres in size, the biggest banyan in the world. Next, the roots represent what? Ichadvesha. I like it, I don't like it. I like it, and it will drive you crazy. Because one day you'll like something, and the next day you'll hate it. Or you'll hate it one day, and the next day you'll like it. That has to go. So here, attachment and aversion, you look at those roots. Strong. Next. And who's that poor fellow? He's a human being, and he's bound by his actions, and he doesn't realize it. He's bound by his fruitive action. If you're fruitive, you're going to stay here. Next. The upper branches, what do those represent? Higher planets. Makes sense. Lower branches, look at that. It looks demoniac, doesn't it? The lower planets. Next picture, I had another one like that. You see how they go everywhere. They're huge. Okay, next picture. Now we're ready now for another item. The leaves. What do the leaves represent? The Vedic hymns. Those people don't understand the purpose of the Vedas. They're staying here. They worship to stay here and get benedictions. That's not smart. The purpose of the Vedas is to get out and know Krishna. The leaves represent the Vedic hymns. What's the next one? The twigs are what? Yeah, the sense objects. Sight, sound, smell, touch. Okay? The tips are the senses. Right? The tips are the senses. The eyes, the ears, the nose. And what's the fruit? What's the fruit of this perverted tree? Dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Is this the goal of the devotee? No. No. The goal of the devotee is not to stay here. He has no interest in this. Okay? Now here's the jiva. You see that section? There's a lot about the jiva. Here's his problem. This is our problem. What's he trying to do? He's trying to enjoy the fruit. Nice picture. What else is he trying to do? It's upside down. This picture is actually the way it is. This is two little birds, and that's actually the boy that hanging on a tree. So up is down and down is up. He doesn't realize he's upside down. Next, he can't see where it begins and where it ends. No idea. Poor little parrot. He's also cute. He's lost. Next one. This one looks old, and the rest look sorry for him. What's he doing? He's struggling hard. And the rest of them look on sympathetically. Okay? What are we nourished by? Yeah, the three modes. Goodness, passion, and ignorance. The three modes. Those also represent the colors, but the faces I thought were pretty strong. And there they are. And they're always competing. So you can't really stay in one or the other. You can't stay in goodness all the time. That's why you got to get out of it. It's a good springboard, but it's dangerous. All right, now those are the 9. Now let's talk about how do we get out. How do we break the reflection? And there are your 3 steps. Find someone who knows. Process. Then what do? Abhideya. Then what do? Prayojana, the goal. Simple. Number 1, I find somebody who knows. Prabhupada, does he know?
Yes.
You better believe he does. And you ask questions of him, and you hear from the right person. If it's the wrong person, not good. Then the surrendering process. Does it stop at any point? It's a second by second decision. And finally, what do? The prayojana. I go there. I'm out. Next. Now let's take a look. Find one whose knowledge, and what do you do from him? Hear from him. You see how this helps you with your chart? Does this help you? Because you look at the chart and it's pretty small and nothing happens. Okay, next, what do? You learn the 3 doers. Jiva, Ishvara, and Prakriti. 3 doers, not 1, not 2, 3. That is Gyan. Next. Then what do? Surrender. And that means Krishna will take charge of you. Until you do that, your knowledge is not complete. Until you surrender, you don't have a connection with Krishna in a bona fide sampradaya. Next, what do? You have to surrender what? False prestige, that I'm this body, that I'm important. What else do you have to surrender? The illusion. I think I'm this body. The whole world is running on that false conception. Anybody who's not in Krishna consciousness, he doesn't know who he is. Whether it's the Prime Minister of India or the Queen of England, they don't know who they are. Or Bill Gates. You people know more than they do. You're more evolved. Even if you don't look it. Now here is an example of development of consciousness. Free from illusion. It's so strong that even a baby, he thinks he's the body. And even this other one, he's even interacting with his illusion. But even the people with the cell phone, selfies, notice everybody's taking a selfie. More accidents happen because of selfies than anything else. It's a fact. There are pictures of people that are, getting knocked over, fall off a bridge. What? Next. This guy, they've done mirror tests. Some animals are smart. They know it's a reflection. This one looks like he's ready for shave. Aristocratic dog. Next one. Even the mouse. He's looking at the... Okay. And we threw in this one. This is from a famous Walt Disney cartoon. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who is the fairest of them all? How many people look in the mirror and think that? It's an illusion. Every movie star, oh. Okay, next. Surrender false association. I'm not Canadian, I'm not American, I'm not Japanese, I'm not. Those are designations. They will keep you here. And Prabhupada said the whole world is divided on this false assumption that these bodies are entitled, that humans are entitled to own the planet. Give it up. Next. Duality. Black and white. Good, evil. Give it up. It'll keep you here. Next one. Happiness and distress. Give it up. Duality. That's Snow White again. That's the witch. She turned into a witch, and she's the bad one, right? And then there's the beautiful Snow White, and she's giving her poison apples. She's so envious. It's everywhere. Duality. That's what the material world is based on, duality. And next? Now, here's a test. What do you see? What's the word you see? If you see one word, you're smart. If you see two words, you're a genius. Cool. Okay, that's not the word we want, but it's okay. Who's a genius in here? Who sees two words? Okay, you see two words? You see two words. Let's see what the answer is. You see it now? He saw it. Smart boy, yeah. I think, like they say, about 5% of the people can do this. Good or evil, that's duality. I see you're good or I see evil, but neither one. No, neutrality. Okay? Now let's quickly go through what's the goal. Now let's take a look. This is your option. Madhurya Ras, maybe that's your Ras. There it is again, Madhurya Ras. This is in Goloka. Or Vatsalya, maybe that's your mood. Or the next one, that's another Vatsalya. Or Sakya Ras. Those are exclusive in Goloka. Vaikuntha planets don't have this. And what's this? You like these slides? I spend a lot of time trying to make them funny. You know, I get serious, but at the end, it's got to have a joke. One-way ticket to where? Anybody want it? Yay! Okay, so that's that. Now we have some mercy for you. We have some leaves here. We're going to pass this around. The first one that you see here, and we're going to go north of Delhi on the way to Hardwar. This leaf is from the banyan tree, because banyans are not bad. It's called Akshay Vriksha. Banyans are sacred. The preferred reflection is not. This is from Shukratal, a town, where the Bhagavatam was spoken. So we want you all to touch this. And this one is from, well, we'll take a look. This is the picture of it. It's 5,100 years old. It's in Shukratal town. And the Bhagavatam, Sukadev spoke the Bhagavad-Gita there. So we want you to get the mercy of Sukadev. And this one is from Jyotisar, where the Gita was spoken. And this is wonderful because now the tree is protected. And somebody in Kurukshetra, I think it was you who helped. Somebody helped us. We got the leaf sent. They went there and the guard said, I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to give the leaves away. He said, although this is going to Vrindavan. So we got 4 leaves, so we got this one. This is from Bhagavad-Gita. So please touch these. We'll pass the book around. Anybody want the mercy? Okay, and also I tried to finish it and I couldn't do it. I had, and I didn't have the time, but Abai, near his house is a banyan, and then I have a flip test here where you see secondary roots, and on the blue side, what does it represent? Right. So I'm going to pass the book around. Take a look quickly. Be sure you touch those first 2. The others you've seen the slides. Okay? That help? Okay, you understand the banyan now? You understand that section? All right, and let's take a look at, there it is. It was actually dying because they were wrapping the red thread around it and the pavement was going up to the root. They couldn't, the poor thing. But now you can't go near it. The guard won't even give you a leaf. So thank you, Krishna. All right, and there he is, speaking to Arjuna. And of course, next slide, there's the sign, Jyotisar, and there's the Gita that made our understanding possible. Because you can go to Kurukshetra. I have a book from Kurukshetra, and in that book, they put it out, it says Krishna's a man. Well, he's just a man. He's a very powerful person. At Kurukshetra, they're saying this? So we're fortunate, and we don't know how fortunate we are. Prabhupada. Okay? Very good. That's pretty much it, I think, for that section. Okay, I think that's it. All right? Now, we're going to take a look at, we want to see a lot of slide series, but before that, let's have a demonstration. In the second section, which is transmigration, we need a volunteer from the Prabhu side, and we need a volunteer. We'll let this little boy do it, okay? We are making our own analogy today to show transmigration, how it's nothing but an illusion. Okay. Would you hold one end of this up? And I need somebody on this side. We'll hold the other side so everybody can see. Can you all hold it up? Can everybody see that? Yes. Can you people see what this is? Okay. All right. Are you curious?
Yes.
Okay. No slides. No, we don't need any slides right now, Abai. Okay, nothing. Just blank. Okay? There are 24 frames here. 24. How many? 24. Everybody got it? So the camera. 24 frames here. This is going to shock you. In animation and in video making, 24 frames have to be made per second. How many?
24 per second.
To create the illusion that a still picture is moving. It's called persistence of vision. What's it called? Yes, the mind is still remembering the last one, so when there's a break, it doesn't see it. So if we think that the devas are doing that to us right now, have we been here for just 1 second today? No. We have changed body 24 times. This is a gross example. We have changed bodies 24 times per second. Is that shocking?
Yes, yes.
And we have cartoons to show you how animated cartoon artists know that and how they make a body look as though it's moving. That's all that camera's doing. That's all the demigods are doing. They're changing your body according to your consciousness by the second. And whatever you're doing now is making the next one spiritual or material. Did somebody just learn something now? The illusory energy has everybody convinced. When you walk out of here, you know that I am watching a movie that's changing every second 24 times. That's gross. I'm sure it's more. You find that interesting? Okay, shall we watch the cartoon? I like that so much. There are animators who make cartoons explaining how they do it, and I found this one just the other day. Okay, so we're done. We can put this down now, and you can fold it up. Thank you very much. Can you clap for them? Thank you for the demonstration. Does that help you get a conception of how the illusory energy works? It's all illusion. All right, let's... Huh?
Why Disney one? Walt Disney one.
No, no. The one that has animation motion. Ready, everybody? Watch carefully. Oh yeah, this is the history of motion picture. Yeah, this is the history one. This is 1832. They're starting to get curious to how it's creating an illusion. So they're watching it through a frame. You see what's happening? Okay. 1833. Zoetrope. They're looking through slits. But it looks like it's moving, right? Does it, you see the point? It's just still pictures. That's all that's happening. It's still pictures, fast, fast, fast. Changing bodies, fast, fast, fast. Now we have another one. He's got a lamp. All kinds of experiments, different ways. Now we won't look beyond that. Now let's go to the cartoon. Oh yeah, go ahead and show where they're adding it to humans, because go back to that at the point where, after that, yeah. Where they start to use pictures. So you see now what we're so used to is a movie. People go to the movies all the time. They've got movies on their camera. Now they're creating the impression that these, but it's just still pictures. Minimum 24 per second. Per second. Okay? And then when they take it into humans, it says it gives us the idea of how the human body moves, how insight into how we move. Okay, that's it. Now the cartoon, because these people, they say they're the most patient people on the planet. Who would make 240 pictures for 1 second? But they do it. When Walt Disney made the first Sleeping Beauty movie, 700 artists full time, day and night. For 1 hour? The devas are making movies for everybody in the creation. We don't know how great God is. That's the problem. Now, I don't want to watch the Walt Disney one. I want to watch the other one, okay? The one that we showed, the cartoon. Buy the new one. The new one. Animated walking cycle. Now here, we don't get to hear the sound. I'll try to explain what's happening. He's going to show you many aspects of how they deal with this. How many times they have to make, now they keep it simple, but look at all the drawings. Look at all that. And then they spread it out. And they can also, when does the foot touch? When do the arms move? How do they move? What's the expression? Now this may sound silly, but that's what nature's doing to us all the time. We're moving like this, we're showing expression. Now he looks confident, right? And they show you all the different steps and how they fill it in between, and the up pose and the down pose. And then they move it around again. 240 pictures for 1 second? That's patience. Using 2 poses. Sometimes they'll use more. Sometimes they'll move the background. Nature's doing this automatically. Actually, the only thing man does is try to copy. Prabhupada says we're here to play God. We're imitation gods. We work so hard to do this. Okay? And then look at that. Distance. Timeline. They have to work out the frames. It's a science. Look at that. Okay? Good enough. Now the other one that shows this, the running one, run cycles, where he has to start showing even more. And he's starting to show emotion and expression. Okay? Remember this when you're out. I'm elaborating on this because it's actually what we have to learn to see. Jnana chakshus. We had to learn to see the strings. We had to learn to see Paramatma. Why are we wearing badges? Krishna is seated in everyone's heart. Not just one person, everyone's heart. If you see that way, you're Krishna conscious. You won't do anything wrong. You're dealing with Krishna. That's absolute. And I showed Lord Chaitanya because he actually has given us the summary of Vedanta Sutta Achintya Veda Veda Tattva. Okay? I think that's good enough. Now, that's good enough. I think they got the point. All right? And we don't need to see the Walt Disney one. Again, it was just a matter of, you see these artists and they're drawing detailed, hundreds of thousands of pictures for 1 hour. Give you appreciation of what you see and how much it worked. Does that help you understand transmigration? Now, what is the proof that the soul is accountable? We have witnesses, and we also have a vision of, let's show the struggling video. Hard struggle. We're going to go to Japan right now. Ready? Ready to go to Japan? What do they go through in Japan daily to go to work? Ready? You won't believe this. The doors are closing. Text the name. These people have to be pushed to fit the train. Now, in Japan, they're very nice about it. I can imagine in Bombay, there'd be a fist fight. Sorry, take the next train, please. They're so polite. Look at that. They do this every day. This is called karshati. What's it called? They need to read Bhagavad-Gita. Anybody want to go preaching in Japan? Don't try to get on the train. Look at that. Do you believe that the world is struggling very hard when you see this? You better believe they are. And they want it that way. Krishna consciousness, no, I'm fine. Okay, look at, they're packed in there like sardines. Even our Kartik isn't this crowded, right? It's not that bad. Okay, and then in the next one, past lives. Not just this one. What's proof of reincarnation? We're going to see a 4-year-old boy who starts out like a little 4-year-old boy, and then he changes. Are we ready? You see him? He looks like a typical 4-year-old. Silly, nice. Ready? Let's go. Look at him. There he is. Now, past life is coming in. You ready? Go. New personality. He's 4. Don't tell me a 4-year-old can do this. He's not the silly little boy now. Now, where did he learn that at 4? Can you believe that? You can't hear the sound. He's playing as good as a concert pianist at 4. Past life. How can you explain this? And then when it's over, he's back to his 4-year-old pose. Reincarnation. Prabhupada told Mukunda, who wanted to learn to play sitar, he said, Mukunda, that takes 12 lifetimes. Forget it. Okay? And look at him. He's just another person. And now he's going to be 4 years old again. Cute, okay? Now let's take a look at witnesses. What kind of body? What's the proof? So we're going to have a little bit of interaction here really fast. You're going to be the sun. Surya, hold up your hands. Okay. And you're going to be, let's go, you be the next fire, Agni. You, fire, Agni. And we need 13 people here. Okay, who wants to be, because we want to know who's watching us. Okay, so the sun, and we've got what else? We've got the fire, and I'm trying to think of the order right now myself. The next one, I believe we have, we better look at the slides, but we want to have, what's that? Hold on, yeah, we got to get the slide series, because I tried to memorize these. 13 witnesses besides us are watching us right now, all the time. And they are deciding our next move and our next body. Okay, you are the soul, and there is another soul, but 13 witnesses are watching. Now, I don't know if I have the glasses in here. Do I have them? Did you get the glasses? You got the glasses. Okay, we'll be passing those around. It's 3D movie. Okay, here we go. Next. Surya. Hold up the sun. And Agni. Agni. There are only 10 of these, so we're going to have an experiment. Agni is the next one. And the fire's watching you. Anybody get away from fire? What about the sky? Anybody get away from the sky? What about the next one? The air? Air? Anybody getting away from the air? These are personalities. Next. The devas. We got just 3 of them there. Principal Gunavatars. Devas are watching us. Who else? Moon. How about you be the moon? You're the moon. All right. And what about evening? You want to be evening? Yeah. Okay. Oh, all right. Good. And what about the next one? Now they use the same word for day and night. Let's see. You. Okay? Yeah. You be the day. Okay? And the next one? You be the night. Anybody get away from day and night? And what about the 4 directions? Let's come back to the ladies. Can you do that one? 4 directions? North, east, south, west. And number 10, number 11, water. Anybody can do without water? You want to be water? Water, yes. And who wants to be the land? Let's have you. Okay, you be the land. Okay. And the last one, who wants to be Yamaraj? Those are the 13 witnesses. 13 witnesses. Now we've had some 3D glasses that will show you. I couldn't find too many videos, but a few people got the 3D glasses. We're going to watch. The material world is a roller coaster ride in 3D. That means it's up and down and up and down, and we want to get off the roller coaster. Okay, so you got that one? You got your glasses on? Does it work? And that is the way the material, it's up and down and up and down and up and down. It should work. Is it working? Okay, go. Now the rest of you don't get to get the effect, but you'll definitely see that the material world is up and down and up and down, and it's a roller coaster ride. But we don't want it anymore. We don't want it. Get ready, and when you go up, guess what? That's why I say pride precedes a fall. Okay, here we go. He looks like he's ready to go off the cliff. Higher, 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 climbing, climbing. Now we're ready to go, full speed. Are they working? Are the glasses working? Yes. Okay, here we go, get set. Have you ever seen the waves when they crest? Okay, there are roller coasters like this. I would think you'd have a heart attack on this. I don't know. There's carry your insurance policy. And they really speed it up. That's material energy. Pretty dizzying. Yeah, if you want, you can maybe want to share these with some other people if you'd like to take. I ordered 10. And luckily we could only find one video that worked with the little cheapies like that. Did it work? Can you see it? So what you're watching actually is the world in the 3D illusion with 13 witnesses, and it's a roller coaster ride. Stop the roller coaster. We want to get off, right? Is he going up again? One more time. Everybody get a chance to look through the glasses because it's actually what we see. And higher and higher and higher and higher. And up we go, and up we go, and I think it's just going to be the final plummet, and is that it? Bye? We stop. Oh no, here we go again. It's pretty dizzying. Yeah, they have these roller coaster rides. They're the most dangerous things you could imagine, and people will subscribe to it. All right? That's good. Now, we want to do, the reason for the badge is for the third section, and yeah, I think that's good enough. They got the idea. I hope did everybody get a chance to see what you're seeing and you think is real? The point is, it's a movie, it's not real, and it's in 3D. And you have how many witnesses? 13. You can't get it. They're persons, they're personalities. All right, now I'm trying to think what else. We have so many videos in there. What else did we have that was far out? I think that's good. Now we're going to look a little bit, and we're going to the third section, how Krishna is taking care of us on all levels. So we'll show, I have a slide that's old, but it shows on the cosmic level, on the earth level, on the physical level, and on the spiritual level, he is our maintainer. Sharanagati. Krishna is our maintainer, and we should be grateful. Everybody say, Krishna, I'm grateful. Everybody say? I'm grateful. Yes, thank you, Krishna, for everything. I can't live without you. It's a God's truth. Now, here we go. Cosmic level, he's in the planets and they're orbiting. If he leaves the planet, it goes into space like dust. That's what the purport says. Terrestrially, he's the sun that lights the planet. He's the moon that gives life to the vegetables. He's everything. On the bodily platform, which everybody likes to eat. Do you all like to eat? Everybody has to eat? Do you have any idea how you digest your food? It's happening automatically. And you don't even know how it's going on. So we're going to, and then finally, spiritually, he's sitting in your what? Heart. And he's giving you Vedic knowledge, and he's giving you intelligence, he's giving you forgetfulness and remembrance. Now, where are the peacock feathers? You got the peacock feathers? Yeah. Where are they? You want to get the peacock feather out? They sort of got buried. We are this. We are borrowed plumes. Whatever we have is borrowed. The intelligence, the material energy. We have nothing to give Krishna, do we? Only one thing. What's that? Love. We are borrowed plumes. So have you ever had anybody take credit for something you did? Like maybe you made a cake for a banquet and somebody else said, oh, I made that. Would you be very happy? We're doing it to him all the time. Oh, I just did this. You didn't. Or I wrote this play. No. The intelligence, I'm the intelligence in man. Okay, so this is what we are. We're borrowed plumes, that's it. You want to keep those? Okay. All right, and the sun lights up everything in the day, and then what's the other one? And then the moon, yeah, okay. Now let's watch a little bit of how we digest food, because this is an interesting thing. The process, they say, is so complex that it harmonizes all of the parts of the body miraculously. Okay, quickly? We probably won't watch the whole thing. Okay, quickly? Here we go. And we're going to see the body. And it's a very good video. This is a person, a day, that's how much you eat, and in 1 year you eat that many. Okay, and that's that much in a lifetime. You eat a lot of food, right? Now, how do you digest it? 9 systems working perfectly without your control. Who's doing it? You can't digest without. He's the fire. He enters your body as the fire. No matter what it is, it has to go through your system. Fats, carbohydrates, proteins, and it goes through all these mechanisms, and then it comes out as excrement. All of that happens in your body without your intervention. Not everybody needs to eat. Okay? So we'll stop there because we can't hear the details. And we're going to go now into our final section so we can appreciate the Vedanta Sutra and how Krishna has made it so simple for us in 3 slokas to know what takes volumes of scholars and they still don't get it. So I want you to remember, well, let's start with this one. Okay, we have, these are the 4 main sampradayas. There are how many? 4. And Lord Chaitanya, that's what we gave him, he has given us the amalgamation of the tattva of all 4. Is Achintya, Abheda, Veda, tattva. Simultaneously one and many, not just one. Buddhists, 0. right? Shankara, 1. Madhava, 2. But Lord Chaitanya, 1 and many. All right? So he is the embodiment. And then you see everything is coming from Krishna. The 4, they acknowledge Krishna is God and that everyone else is eternally his servant. Lord Brahma is the head of the Brahma Sampradaya. Lakshmi, the head of the Shri Sampradaya. Shiva of the Rudra Sampradaya. And the 4 Kumaras of the Nimbarka Sampradaya. And the Acharyas are, you'll always see 2 fingers. Who's the first one? Madhva. It's not Madhava, it's Madhvacharya. Go back to the chart, please. Ramanuja, he's got the flag. You see him? And the big tilak. That's from coming from Narayan, Lakshmi Narayan. Vishnu Swami, he's okay. His commentary accepts God, and it's dual, 2. And the Kumaras, Nimbarkacharya, and that's from the 4 Kumaras, and actually that's coming from Vishnu, who comes as the horse, Hayagriva. So those are your 4 acharyas, 4 sampradayas. Now I want you to say the numbers 4, 4, and 555. Say it. 4, 4, 5, 5, 5. I didn't know much about the Vedanta Sutra, but I thought this would help us know how vast it is, just so we appreciate 3 slokas. Okay, let's take a look at the next picture, because you have this in you have these charts here. Okay, next one. These will tell you, this is another one, it's too detailed. Who comes first, second, third? Okay, that's also detailed. But the next one, the Vedanta Sutra has 4 books. 4 chapters. How many? 4. Each chapter has how many sections? 4. How many verses? Sutras? 555. In the Bhagavad-Gita, how many do we deal with? 3. Summary. That's why this is called Summary of Vedanta Sutra. Let's take a look at the acharyas really quickly. And Prabhupada in the CC does say they should be studied. I don't want you to think I'm adding anything. And he even named the Sampradaya, and he named the Bhasya. Okay? Our first one, quickly. Yeah, the first one is Madhvacharya. We've got these folders, so it goes really fast. Madhvacharya, he's got you'll always know him, he's holding up 2 fingers. And our next one is what? Ramanuja. Right? And he's got the flag. Sri Sampradaya, the Sri Bhasya. The next one, Vishnu Swami. I couldn't find anything particularly characteristic about, how he's sitting. Sarvagya Bhasya. And Nimbarka Sampradaya, Parijat, Saurabh, Bhasya. Okay, 4. And of course they had blamed, that the Govinda Bhasya, that Baladev, he went to Mayapur, because they said, oh, you don't have a commentary, but the Bhagavatam is the natural commentary. But he went and he spoke, Govindaji spoke the Govinda Bhasya. Okay, that's it. We went around over time, but I hope that helps you. Chapter 15, Ki Jai. There is Prasadam. We've run over quite a bit of time, but we had a lot of experiences. Oh, I just wanted to show you this. This is some colored, this is not cranberry juice, it's water. And the material world is the jar, and the water is the internal energy, and the little cup is the boat. If you are in touch with Krishna, You are floating, and did you notice the water doesn't move? What does the water do? It's always level. You're not affected. But if you're identifying with the external energy, what are you doing? You're being tossed like the waves. So the wise person takes shelter of the internal energy. That's why he's equipoised. He's not affected. You follow that one? Everybody understand that one? And the boat is, of course, transcendental knowledge, the boat, right? The winds or the Vedas, the human body, I think, is the boat. So please take your boat, connect with Krishna, and we hope that you go back to the spiritual world. One-way ticket. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. And be sure you accept some prasadam. And don't forget, now everybody's got Lord Chaitanya in the heart. And what you're watching is a 3D movie.
Do you take questions?
Really quickly, yeah?
So, listening to Prabhupada's lectures, he has said that the devotee doesn't, this is for the banyan tree page. So, a devotee doesn't wish to actually go to the spiritual kingdom. The devotee wishes to serve no matter where he...
Well, that's Lord Chaitanya, yes. But Prabhupada said that's very elevated.
And to see as everyone is...
Yeah, he has no desire. He has no desire. Birth after birth. But Prabhupada doesn't recommend that.
Right, he doesn't recommend that.
But if one is completely transcendental, it doesn't matter where he is because he's not affected. Super soul could be with you in stool. He's not affected. If you're transcendental, Prabhupada could go into the slums. Nothing bothered him. But you will be bothered. The modes will bother you.
When we said that Dharma is the goal of the devotee...
No, it's not. Dharma, Artha, those are the four... those are the four desires of those who were following the Vedic sacrificial system. Dharma means I'm pious. People who have money now, they have that credit from before. You can't get more than what you've earned before. Artha, right, that's my desire, right, Artha. And Kama means, of course, your lust. But now people just want Kama. They don't even worry about Dharma. But they're burning up their credits. And not very many people care about moksha. But liberation is not the goal. Liberation is built into devotional service.
So our goal is to see Krishna. Would that be our goal?
Yeah, you automatically, that's what it says. You automatically become wise, and he engages in devotional service because the others are they're not important. You have everything. He who knows me knows everything. You're satisfied. When Dhruva saw Krishna, he says, I don't want the kingdom. I'm fine. I just want you. So when you see Krishna, you're satisfied. Our problem is we see the material energy. But super soul, that's why we do these things. You have to become aware. Super soul is there. And 13 witnesses, right? Okay, everybody. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.